Launch sequence activated. Accessing.
Hopefully, I said that right. I've been trying to rehearse this for
Yes.
the past week. Again, I'm so excited that you're here and that you are the very first host on the stream. And so, guys, make sure you are liking and subscribing. This is she is part of Gamma. I know she's going to tell more about this, but I'm so honored to have you here on my stream tonight.
Yes. Thank you so much, Bedford. I know my name is really hard to pronounce. So really good job. It's Gui Phomlam Park and you have pronounced it perfectly. So thank you for having me. Hi to all your followers on Bedford stream. I think it's Tinker Tech Education. Am I correct?
Tinker Tech EDU, Tinker Tech Education. You're the first person that actually said education. I need to maybe start saying education as well.
Education.
I usually say Tinker Tech EDU, but education is fine. It's all about education, no matter if it's in the K-12 space, the corporate space, the higher ed space. It's all about learning of where we're at. So yeah, absolutely.
Definitely very excited to be here for the Competent Science Week and at the first guest as well. So very happy. So a bit about me. My name is Gui. I'm a co-founder here at Gamatics. So Gamatics, as you can see from the name, Gamatics is an esport management and analytic platform. Actually, when people saw the name of the company, they were thinking, oh, this just only do data analytics, but that's not true. We are more management platform more than analytics. So yes.
Absolutely. And I will say, like, we've known each other for quite a bit. But one of the when I first entered this space of esports, of course I was in it for the curriculum aspect, the diversity aspect, and all of that. But one of the biggest problems that I had was getting leaders to look at their return on investments. What can we look at when people walk into a room? They're obviously they see the engagement, They see the excitement, but they're wanting to look at return. They're wanting to look at numbers. And yes, us as gamers, we know how to look at those numbers in analytics. But from a program perspective, we want to know, like, okay, how do we know that so and so is doing good on Rocket League or Fortnite or Call of Duty? And what does that mean, not just in the district space, but in the whole entire gaming community? And I know that we're going to get into that, and I know we'll be able to show parents and people who aren't into that in that space what it means to look at analytics like that. But before we get into any of that, I want to talk to you about just this as being kind of a tech startup, so to speak, and being in that space. This is computer science after all, but we don't talk about what it means to be in a tech business or a startup, and that's also part of computer science. We do talk about the coding and all that, but as you can see, you know, I'm a content creator myself. I'm in this technology space. Before we got on, you talked about you're such a tech specialist, and I'm like, you know, I'm just putting things together. But a lot of this is very technical. Everything that we do is very technical, but even coming up with doing a tech startup is a lot. What does it mean? And we're gonna do this in two parts. What does it mean to be in a tech startup? It doesn't matter if it's game analytics. It could be anything, running an app business or whatever. What does it mean to do a tech startup?
Yeah, it's hard. Like it's really, really hard. It's so difficult. I think I have been building Gamematic for like a year now, and I have aged 10 years. I put on like 10 pounds within the last 7 months. I'm so stressed every day. I gotta have the white hair soon. That is so true. You know, when you talk about being in tech industry, people think, oh, it's so exciting. You're gonna earn so much money. You know, you sound really cool, but actually, it's so far away from that. I think for me, especially being a woman, because as you can see, when you talk about tech industry, this space is so dominated by men, right? You walk into the room or any tech event, 85% of people is going to be full of guys, right? And at first, when I start my career, I feel so insecure. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to walk into this, giving a talk on the stage, blah, 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 being the only woman. So first, being in a tech industry is also a challenge. And then on top of that, if you start your own company, there's so many things you have to look at, right? So before I joined in Gametics, I was a head of business development for a Series A startup that was a fintech company. And only then I need to focus on only sale. Like, you know, how can I make the business better? But now as a co-founder, you need to look at a lot of aspects. Like apart from traction, you have to look at operation. You have to look at the technologies, everything, right? So it's different that I have so much of personal growth because you're just doing a lot of things. You face your own fear, and I think that's the only way for you to grow.
So, like, give me some more exciting things, like about being in the tech startup. What do you have to even wait to graduate high school or college and say, you know what, I want to do a tech startup? Is that the case? Is that the case now?
No, not really. Actually, before this ever happened, I'm not a tech person at all. You know, when I was in like, let's say high school, you have one of those like computer classes where you have to be excellent at Excel, you know, Adobe and all the stuff. I was so bad. I was like always like try to copy my friend because I didn't know what to do. So when we talk about, you know, being in tech, it doesn't mean that you have to be a coder. I think that, you know, like content creator, it also count as a tech because you work in gaming industry, right? So being in tech, you don't really have to have the degree in computer science. I mean, obviously you will be great because you know how to code, but it doesn't really matter. My degree is a bit useless from outside world because I study like psychology and I study English literature, which is like what, right? But actually those degree make you understand human behavior and understand why people do things in that way. And that's really, building out the career. So being in a tech space, you don't really need to, have very like pretty degree like computer science. It would be great that you have, but it's not necessary. So I think
Right.
that's a big understanding in tech, I think.
Right. And you obviously are going to need some people when it's time to like run the app or run the program who know how to do the coding in the program. Those are important. But if you're wanting to run a tech startup, you are going to need people that are going to like know that finance part, that business
Yes.
part, that like even as I was creating this, there
Yeah.
what people don't know behind the scenes, like when I do these streams, there's
Mhm.
so much logistics that
Yeah.
comes with just right now we're smiling and we're happy and we're all
Yeah.
excited, but behind the scenes, you know what I went through. Like
Yeah.
I'm making contact people. I'm creating, the questions. I'm
Yeah.
making sure that you guys are online and ready. I'm
Mhm.
giving you guys maybe some social media stuff to point out. I'm giving you guys a schedule, things like that. Like it's a lot of work, and I'm wearing many different hats. And that's the other thing
Yeah.
that people don't see in the beginning of a tech startup. I guess I could consider myself a tech startup. I don't. I am my own brand, so to speak. But when you first start out, you are wearing all the hats in the very
Exactly.
beginning until
Yeah.
you start getting that income coming in.
Yeah.
You are the techie person. You're trying to run the program. You're trying to get
Yeah.
the finances together. You're trying to see who can do the stuff that you can't do, and
Yeah.
even doing it, either free or on the cheap, till
Yeah.
you can get that revenue come in.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you do when you're starting it. You're trying to get those angel investors, and that's
Mhm.
a whole nother topic. But
Yeah.
it's a lot of work that goes into it, and many different degrees, many
Yeah.
different certifications, or just many different expertise come into play. So you're right. You don't necessarily have to have that. Oh, I need to be just
Yeah.
that Adobe person or that Java person. Yeah, those people are important when they do come in,
Mhm.
but there are so many talented people in this space, and especially in the age that we're in now, where you're learning stuff so quickly and people
Yeah.
are so talented. You can start a tech business tomorrow. Now, of course, there's some things that you need,
Yeah.
in order to make that happen. But it has its successes and it has its challenges.
Yeah.
Definitely. I want to actually extend that to talk about being a woman in the tech
Mhm.
startup place. What is that? You touched on it a little bit, but what is that like for you?
Um, I think is really challenging. I think there are two ways to look at things, right? Of course, there's a lot of advantage. There's a lot of disadvantage as well. Let me start from the challenge I faced first. I think that they are so underrepresented in the tech world. Not just tech world, I think also esport, right?
Hmm, hmm.
So yeah. So and yeah, it's so underrepresented. And another thing is that I feel like I'm lack of mentorship.
Ah.
Yeah, because when I was working in financial tech, like fintech, as we call, we see a lot of like women as well. I would say like 40% of them are women, and I, connect with a mentor who have more experience than me, and they can lead me and guide me, right? But when I enter tech, especially esport tech, right? When you look at it, it's so hard for me to find a mentorship or it's really, really hard for me in that. It's so dominated by men.
Hmm.
So sometimes when you look at the feature, they use the word like he a lot. Like guys, like boy will do this, but actually it also a woman, right? So I think that is like a big challenge. And I think to overcome the challenge is that you need to find your unfair advantage, right? So being a woman in tech space also have some advantage as well, because when you go to this tech event, tech meeting, whatsoever, is mostly guys. But so it's easy for you to make a conversation in a way if you're not so insecure about yourself. So you have to try to speak up, and they seem to be helping you more a bit because you are a woman. I think just put your, how to say, play a game that is fair, advantage to you, and so you can stay ahead of your competition. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Absolutely. Even for me, as even a male of color, just and I'm saying this out. I mean, I've said it a lot, but just
Yeah.
being a person of color, being male,
Yeah.
being tech, being esports, I like. There's all of these layers
Yeah.
that do make it challenging, but
Yeah.
I'm always willing to push through that
Yeah.
by doing stuff like this to show that hey, we are out there, we are doing these things.
Yeah.
It's we want to push the envelope. We want to show
Yeah.
that you can also do these spaces. There's different avenues to get
Yeah.
into these spaces. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. What advice would you give to young women who are aspiring to one do what you're doing with like esports and analytics, but also entering the tech field?
Yeah. I think there are probably two advice I would give them. The first one is that do not be afraid. It sounds so cliche, but it's so true, because like there's not so much better than you. When I first start my tech career, I always feel so insecure. Like I told you before, when I would have a meeting, even all in my team, everybody is a guy for some reason, right? And you are in a meeting and you kind of feel underrepresented. I think you also share this view with me. But if you only work hard, you know what you are doing, you know, work hard never betray you. So just don't be afraid. Do not think that, they are any better than you. The second advice I like to give is that go to the event. You know, connection is so important. It's never about what you know, it's about what you share. Being with your channel where you can comment, and that's how we start a conversation, right? And if I
Right.
never put myself out there, I would never find you. You would never find me. This stream would never happen. So that's why it's so
Absolutely.
important to put yourself out there. And for any introverted who are obviously afraid to, meeting people, I always give this advice is that you just have a KPI for yourself. Let's say that you're gonna go to a meeting. Your KPI could be, I'm gonna talk to one person. I'm gonna ask them what they do. I'm gonna connect with them on LinkedIn, and that's it. That's your KPI.
So
Then
what before you finish that thought, what is
yeah,
a KPI for those who don't
okay,
know?
yeah. So it's a key performance indicator. Sounds so complicated. It's just your goal. It's just what's your goal of that day,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
And for educators out there, those are like our performance objectives. So
Yes.
they're
OKR,
different
right?
terminology. I had to
Yes.
learn that when I got into the corporate side space. Like KPI, I remember
Uh-huh.
yeah, Danny told me that. I'm like, Danny, what is that? Danny
Yeah.
from Eastwood. I'm like, what are you talking about? Objective. Like, oh, okay, it's this. So
Yes.
so when you get into more of this space, KPI, key performance indicators, those are like your goals, your
Yes.
objectives.
Yeah. They also call it OKR as well. It's objective key result.
Okay.
Another one is OKR. But yeah, so that's two things. But basically it's the goal that you want to achieve. So you should always walk into the event with a goal in your mind, right? And if when you achieve it, then you can walk out and go home. And I think that's really good advice for introverted.
I agree with that 100%. And one of the advices that I also started with too is just start. Like
Yeah.
it's not going to be perfect the first time. And that's something that I had to really overcome. Like what you see
Yeah.
right now is awesome and great.
Yeah.
But it took me a while to get here. If I had to go back and talk to the previous Bradford that started, I shouldn't have waited so long to do this. I should have just started with like a crappy camera and whatever. But I really I wanted this part. But what people have to understand is it takes time to get to that point, even
Yeah.
with even in computer science. Start with what you have, learn
Yeah.
some basics, and it just keep at it every day. See what you like, see what you
Yeah.
don't like.
Yeah.
And so that will take you really far. So
I
no,
just
go
want to
ahead.
add on that. I totally agree with you on just start. You know, I know a lot of friends who want to start a podcast and they have to wait for the right microphone, the right camera, spend a lot. I would say 90% ahead of everyone else.
Yep. You cut out a little bit. Say what you said again real quick.
I
In
was
like 10 seconds.
yeah. I was saying that just start because once you start, you already 90% ahead of everyone else.
Absolutely. You're
Yeah.
you're putting yourself out there, and
Yeah.
it's gonna look bad in the beginning. It's gonna look bad. My stuff isn't perfect.
Yes.
I'm sure somebody's saying, "Oh, what is he doing over there?" It took, like I said, it takes a lot for us to get to this point, but we're
Yeah.
here. But
Yes.
speaking of all of this, let's talk about your game analytics. Let's get there.
Mhm.
How did game analytics come about?
Okay. So as you know, gaming is esport is taking off, right? And it's not just for professionally anymore. Now, I think university and school are realizing the importance of esport program. So they build this esport program. But despite this amazing growth in the space, I think that the coach and student they are still lacking of the tools to making the esport even further. For example, I talk to the coach and they use Discord, they use Google document, and they use maybe 5 different websites if they want to see the stat for the game, right? And the idea of game ethics is to bring everything to in a centralized hub. I think that that's how we start a company.
Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
did you want to go through and talk about a little bit more? We'll go on to your shared screen just so we can do a little bit of a deeper dive so people can see what you're talking about.
Sure thing. There you go.
Let's.
Can you see my screen?
We are going to get into that. Second, let me do this.
Can you see it?
Yes, and the audience should see it now. Okay.
All
And
good?
yeah, we're good. We're good to go.
Okay, all right, perfect. So I think this was, I talked with you earlier, is that game ethics, we do 3 things, right? We do analytic solutions, management hub, and recruitment tools. And we want to be decentralized hub for esports program. We help with managing teams, streaming operation, track player analytics, and measure engagement. And everything all the data is automated via the API, so nothing manual for the coach. And I think these are the key pain point so we speak with 100 esports coach and we come up with the 3 pain point. So the first one is that they don't really have a centralized hub for managing the team. The second one is that 50% of the coach don't really use the data to analyze or improve the performance. And the last one is that 80% of esports coach they are struggle to show the value of esports program to leadership, right? So which one is resonating with you the most, Belfort?
So I will tell you, and I have a friend that joined this chat in here too, and we talk about this all the time. It's I don't think we have this struggle, but in general, like showing the value to leadership. It's better. Yeah. It's better than it was, let's say, 4 or 5 years ago. But like, still, like, I think leadership still understands. Like, okay, students are engaged. They see the excitement of the game of them going and playing the games, but at the end of the day, what are the numbers? And I don't think
Yeah.
that. And okay, this is again, I always say this is Bradford talking. I can't speak for everybody,
Yeah.
but what numbers can we correlate with, student success or program success? Like, I get that, Kui is great at Rocket League and those numbers are great, but I need that to relate to what's going on in my school or what's going on in my program, so I can be able to fund this more to people who are above me, above more of leadership. Now, I will also say, since you said I'm a techie person too, the second part is being centralized. Now, I'm also part of a nonprofit organization, TechSF, and we always talk about being centralized. And even in the tech spaces, we always talk about we need stuff centralized where we can communicate. We can look at, the rankings and all that stuff. So we need some place where it's easy to access those things. It's easy for students to see or spectators to see or anybody to see. Discord in the education space, it all depends on who you talk to. It's either yes or no, and a lot of it is a no. So I would say that my top two, if I was to rank these, it is the showing the value, a centralized hub, and then the use of data tools. So these numbers, the 80%, the 72%, and the 50%, these are dead on targets.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. So thank you for that. I think even the educator also feel the same way. When you really, want to get some funding or showing the value, it's just so hard to show to the leadership if you don't really have a concrete number, because they don't really come to the lab with you every day. So they don't really see what we're seeing, right? So that's why we are building this to help esports coach, and hopefully, they get more funding.
Absolutely.
Yes. And so that's why we come in. We do two things. So the first one is team management feature. So this doesn't matter what game you play, you pay. We can help you in terms of streamline practice, schedule all the stuff, and centralize information, resource, and training model. And the next one is our analytic feature. So we now cover the game like League of Legends, Rocket League, Valorant, Fortnite, chess, and we're about to have it for Overwatch and Dota. So it was very difficult on this part, And to make life a bit easier for the esports coach is that a team analytic as well, so you can see all the 5 players when they play together. We also have this report card, which is our most famous feature, because we want to keep the parent in loop, right? Because the parent wouldn't know what the kids are doing. So we have this, let's say this one for Rocket League. So we show them the hard skill like positioning, mechanic, but we also touch in terms of communications and teamwork as well.
See,
and the last one is go ahead.
I was gonna say this is what got me, and I'm not gonna lie to you. This is one of the reasons why I said I have to have you on the CS EDWeek, because of the report card part. Because I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. This actually was like, at first, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not gonna do the CS EDWeek, but then you guys put this out on LinkedIn. I'm like, oh my God, now I have to do this, because the report card part was like, I don't know what this is, but like I had an idea of like, all right, it's talking about those transferable skills. As a parent, I know what Rocket League is. I know what Dota is. I know what all those things are. But if there's a parent or a typical administrator or whatever that doesn't know these games, but they know those transferable skills, okay, so that these games are 3v3, 5v5, whatever. But how are they good at communicating? How are they good at doing all of these basic skills? If I'm looking at student Bradford in this setting and they are struggling with this, I can take this, and I hope educators are listening to this and going, okay, in a group setting, they're successful in doing this. They can be successful in doing something like possibly be successful in this in another classroom setting, not maybe necessarily games, but I can put them in a group setting and have them be a leader in doing
Mhm.
X
Yeah.
because they can do something like this. And so this is
Yeah.
where this report card really comes in handy because it doesn't say, oh, well, they're really good at shooting a ball from one end to the other. That's there. And I don't mean to put words into your mouth and I don't mean to
Mhm.
sell this like this,
Yeah.
but it was the transferable skill sets that got me really excited.
Yeah, definitely. And I think another thing it also is boosting their confidence as well, right? Because most gamers they tend to be very introverted. They love to be in their own space. They are very smart people, and you need to be able to. Some of them are a bit shy, right? But if you look at the status, you look at the data and say, hey, you are actually a good communicator. You can direct the team about, hey, this one should be the defense, another one should be the striker, whatsoever.
Mhm.
They have that skill already, and we just need to boost their confidence so they can transfer those skills into real world skills. So I think,
Oh, okay. So if they come up and say, I'm really not that talkative. I'm really
yeah,
very shy. Well, in this report card, when you play Rocket League or when you play League of Legends, you are a great talker. You're a great
yeah,
leader. You do this as an
yes,
educator, as a parent. That doesn't mean
yeah,
that everything that they need to do needs to be Rocket League or League of Legends related, but
yeah,
that means that I can start channeling things to get them to, do other
yes,
things. I can start thinking of other
yeah,
ways to get them to do whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And actually, we have the case study as well. So it is in the UK. So, one of the company, they use our platform. And actually, for the program that they use is for the homeschool student, right?
Okay.
And this particular homeschool, they are very shy. He want to go to normal school, but he was like, I'm shy. I didn't want to speak up whatsoever. But actually, when he play Rocket League, he incredible in terms of communication. He's really good at communicating, and then that's programmed him into a streamer. So they say, hey, you're actually really good at this. Why don't you try to stream on our channel?
Oh
And it has
wow.
been a successful. And I think that like the parent was like, now they have another way to look at the game and be like, oh, actually, you know what? Maybe this game can bring a skill that they haven't seen in the kid before because there was no way for them to show it, right? So yeah, that
That's
was really nice.
now I'm looking on the
Okay,
side.
so
I was looking on the side over here. Does it it also saves your
mhm.
videos? Is that right or no?
Yes, that is correct. So another thing that we have for operational resources such as video review tools and even player roadmap. I can show you it later. But basically, when you play a game, you can upload the word review into our platform. And we correct all the word. You can make timestamp. And in the future, which is next year, we're gonna have the AI component to this. So when you upload it, our AI will tell you what is your score is like, how when you play, what is your play style and how you can improve. So yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. That's
So
really so you have that AI component already in there too. Okay.
yeah, that's going to be next year, but we are working on it right now.
Mm,
And this is the benefit that we see from the existing school is that they win more 10% win rate. The costs have decreased in the work hour, and we see 25% in terms of player engagement. And this is what we want to help you do is that you win more, work less, hopefully, and show the return of investment of esports program to the leadership, and hopefully you have a higher students engagement. Yeah.
got it.
So that's basically what the platform do.
That is really amazing. And this also communicates where you can ready up your players and communicate with your players instead
Yes.
of going into Discord. And it also does uh the uh the Swiss ranking and all that kind of stuff too. It'll do all that for you too.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's really
Thank
amazing.
you.
And so it again, I think we've probably already talked about this already, but just to repeat it again, as a leader, what am I looking at as far as the analytics? Because I know reading analytics as a non-gamer is different
Yeah.
from reading the analytics as a gamer. So if I'm going in and I'm looking at League of Legends as a non-gamer, what do
Mhm.
I need? What do I need to be looking for in game analytics?
I think it's really depend. So I think let me show you this. So let me share the screen again. Share. So it's depend on what you want to look at, but I think what might be interested to you is actually this feature. Let me work on this a little bit. We have this thing, it's called weekly engagement metric over here. This is made for a leadership. So basically, if you click on here, you will kind of see the thing. For example, so let me give you a background of this feature first, right? So basically, the esport coach, they like to have a feature when it show, then when they can show leadership that the esport program is booming. So and we can do it via here. So for example, we can see on here that we can see on here the total hour in semester, hours spent representing the school. Every time they go to complete in the name of the school, you can show it on here. Hour per dollar spent. So let's say you spend $5,000 in the esports program. How much hour you get in return for dollar spent, and hour play per student. And we break down by the game. We show you an hour place month by month. We break down training model. So I think this is for when you look at engagement, you're not just only looking at the gaming perspective, but you're looking the overall thing as well.
So
yeah.
can any game be put on game analytics?
And
Like
yeah.
for example,
Yes.
shameless plug. Don't mean to shameless plug it, but like Marvel Rivals just came out. So could that be put in game
Yes.
analytics? Can how and
Yes.
I'm not gonna get into logistics like that. I want your clients to talk about how that can be uploaded. So we're not gonna talk about that, but I was just curious about if any new
Yeah.
games are coming out that could be put in there it to have the
Yes.
analytics. Okay.
Yes. So any games, but so there are two ways. They can do it manually or by automate, right? The game that we have the API, such as Valorant, League of Legends, luckily, this we put the KPI directly from the game. So the code doesn't have to come and say, oh, how many hours they play the game. So that's automate, right?
Okay.
But if the school play like, Super Smash, whatever, maybe we have to do that's on the manual part because Nintendo would never give you anything.
Right.
So that had to be on manual, but we figured it out. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And they have to contact you to do that, or excuse me, or they can do that themselves. Like, okay, I want to put in new game X. They can put that in manual
Mhm.
or they would have to contact you guys to do that.
Both ways. So actually here at the engagement, we have, before we putting any data on here, you have to answer some questions. Let me just show you a bit here. You see over here is like answer some question. So based on this question, if you say, hey, I wanna, be able to put on the game as well, we can customize the question according to your need, and then we're gonna collect it for you.
Okay. That's really awesome. You thought you thought of
Thank
everything.
you.
And are we able to access that case study or no?
Case study? No, sorry, I didn't prepare for that.
Oh no. I mean
but
not right
I can show.
not right now. I mean, but is that easily accessible? Like I can. Is it possible? You can say no. It's okay. It like once I re-edit this, I can put it like in the show notes maybe.
Yeah.
To access. Yeah, I could do that. I can do that so they can see
Yes.
it on demand on my
Yes.
YouTube channel.
Yes. Yes. That's correct. Yes, that's
Okay.
correct. Yeah. So And this is just a data for each game. For example, if you look at Maddie here, you can see write anything down you don't want to. This will show them like the data map and the other stuff, and we provide it for like every game as well that we can bring the data in. What is your favorite game to play?
My favorite game to play. Okay, so so same shameless plug right now. I am doing a workshop next Monday for Fall Guys and Rocket League, and we're talking about how we can do skill building with those. So those are the games that I'm currently looking at right now. So those would be something that I would be into as of right now. I don't know how Fall Guys would work with this, but but definitely Rocket League.
Okay. Lovely. Show you that for Rocket League then. That was for Valorant earlier, but for, let's take David for example. He played start with tech, but I think what be interested to you is probably this one. Podcast I'm talking about where you can, put overall gate, and this is a hard skill, right? Movement, basic mechanic, but we're also looking into like, teamwork and strategy as well. So I think this will be very, beneficial for esports coach that want to bridge the gap between, the parents and the kid. Yeah.
I love this. And it's another report card. Now, is that stressful to kids? Like, oh great, here's another report card that I have to improve on. Like, how do students respond to, okay, now here's another ranking, like here's something else, like how do they respond to that? Like, here's something else I gotta do they feel pressure because here's like another type of report card, or is it something like, oh okay, this is something that I won't I don't want to this, the academic side of it, but like, how it is with report cards and progress reports. How do kids respond to something like this?
They actually love it. I was having the same worry as you before launching it. I was like, they already have report card for math, for English. Now they're gonna have report card on gaming, but they love it. I think gamer, they love to look at the stat, and they can always compare it with their friends, because you can be really good at positioning, but you might be very bad at teamwork, right? So we also forcing this nature of like, apart from the hard skill that you think you're good at, you need to have soft skill.
Yeah, and we know these things can be subjective.
So they turn out the feedback is better.
Yeah,
exactly.
We know these things can be subjective. It just gives you a ballpark idea, but like, just knowing that now my kids are in their 20s, but like, I don't know, I wouldn't know sometimes, like, okay, what are you doing in your group work? I'm not going to really ask that. I don't know if parents ask that now, but like an idea of looking at, okay, they're really good at strategy. They're really good at this. They're really good at that. Yeah, we see it in Rocket League. We see it in games, but just, when a child comes home and says, I'm really good at, take a look at this. These are my skill sets. It's when it's time for them to leave the 12th grade, and we have something to look at. What skills can you use? What are your transferable skills? Well, because you've been in this gaming club or esports program or computer science program, this data says that you are very strong in these areas. Even though it's in Rocket League, even though it's in League of Legends, or even though it's in this data says that you have strength in these. So let's channel it with this. So now you have something to talk about with confidence. I'm really good at strategy. Oh, and somebody asked, well, how are you good at strategy? I'm good at strategy because of this, and this. And it's documented. Whereas in the past, well, I think I'm good at strategy. I'm not really sure. It's in a game, and that maybe might turn people off, but now you have something that says, I'm really good at strategy, and here's how I'm good at it. Here's the graph that shows how I'm good at strategy. That's a game changer. No pun intended. So
Absolutely, you have put it beautifully, and I think that is so true because when someone say, "Oh, I'm good at strategy," how you prove that, right? Now you have the bit of information to be like, "Hey, look at the data in my past of my 100 grand that I pay. This is the result of it." So yeah, that is
that's
so correct.
that is something amazing. And what better way to say that even in our community that we can walk with, oh, so and so is really good at strategy because of this. Here is the data.
Mhm.
In the past, we have said, oh well, Student Bradford is really good at communicating. He can really talk to students with this. We
Yeah.
usually talk about it, but and it's there are other tools that do this too, but like something like this that says, here is how, because someone's playing a game, how they
Yeah.
communicate really well. One day their strength in communication was like this. Next week it may have went up
Mhm.
or down, but we can target it. This
Yes.
is really something to I feel like all students can take part in, even if they're not strong in the game.
Yeah.
It'll show where different strengths are, and they can
Yes.
pick up from that. So really,
Exactly.
really amazing, really
Thank
amazing,
you.
really amazing. So stay on real quick. We're gonna end it here, but stay on real quick. We're gonna end it. I'm so glad that you were my very 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 first guest. I'm
Yes.
so I'm so happy. This is such an honor that you came to my little my little stream, and
Of course.
and again, this is already live, everybody, but I'm also going to re-edit this to
Mhm.
where I'm going to have the show notes and whatnot. But Kui, if where can they reach you to get any uh information about Game Analytics or about what
Mhm.
you do? Where can they
Yeah.
find you? Where can they get information about you?
I always on LinkedIn, so I can give you a link on my LinkedIn, and or you can just contact me on gamertics.gg. So that is a way to reach out to me. You can request a demo, and I will be there. So when you click a demo, like at a startup founder, you wear so many hats, right? So of course, I'm a salesperson as well. So yeah,
Absolutely.
on there.
Absolutely. Great, great. Well, thank you for being a part of this of day one. Super excited. And stay on. I'm gonna sign us out. And again, thank you for talking about being a woman in a startup and in tech and introducing game analytics.
Thank you so much, Will, for having me.
I'm no problem. Thank you for being again my first guest.
Okay.
Hello, hello. Okay, I think everything is okay. So I'm gonna try this again. But thank you guys. to chatting with all of you. Again, tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central, with JP Larios with Canva and Stream Overlays. I will talk to you soon. Take care. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Bradford Harris, also known as EdTech Tinker on social media. Thanks for watching my streams and connecting with me on your favorite social media platform. On my platform, I love sharing all things digital learning and fluency, STEM, esports, gaming, and so much more. Connect with me to like, follow, and subscribe at link.space/@EdTechTinker. From there, you can connect with me and subscribe to your favorite social media channels such as Twitch, LinkedIn, Instagram, and also my website, tinkertechedu.com. Make sure to follow me to stay up to date with the latest posts, streams, and video content. You can DM me for any networking, presenting, and professional development opportunities that are virtual or face-to-face. You can catch me live at least twice a month on some of your favorite platforms, but I'm always excited to show something very new and exciting just for you. So whatever your favorite platform is, you want to connect and go to link.space/@EdTechTinker. Follow, like, and subscribe. Excited to meet with you and chat with you. Talk to you soon.